So I forgot my seating mat, so I'm using a couple of branches that are still dry. I don't know when it was this quiet in my recent weeks or months, and it feels really, really good. The point of this video is this knife right here. It's the Acta Non Verba M25. They have like an outdoors inventory, and then they have a inventory for military law enforcement, and this is in this military inventory. So the big difference here is that you get micarta, 3D contoured micarta scales that are also very nicely milled. You get a lot of texture here, which prevents you from slipping into the blade because the guard is like curved. So the texture is actually preventing you more than the guard here. And it's really nicely machined. 3D contoured spine and tang, as we are used to from Acta Non Verba. You get these cutouts here. So, wait again, how did this work? So these are made for, you see this hole back here, you can put a pin through and you place it on a map, and then you can draw a circle, with these being 250, 500 meters. Yeah, and this is 1 kilometer then. So 250, 500, 750, 1 kilometer, and this is probably 2 kilometers, 3, 4, and 5 kilometers. Which is, it's an interesting idea. This knife was made for like an anti-aircraft unit of the Czech military, and so in case they don't have access to their radar system, I guess they can also use the map, which I probably they won't do that, but it's an interesting idea. So let's focus, please. The handle is screwed on as opposed to be bolted on. You get this, apart from the hole that you can use for the pin, you get this flathead back here, which you can use as a flathead. It's mainly, I think the main purpose of this is that you can unscrew a safety on some weapon system in this aircraft unit. So it's a very specific tool, but you can also use it for prying, pounding, opening beer bottles, and obviously the back here can be used as a lanyard hole, which I have not used so far because I don't feel this knife needs a lanyard. It's a nice and generous handle, not too big, not too small. The blade length of this guy is 11 centimeters, which is 4.3 inches. Weight is 140, which is 4.9 ounces. So not a heavy knife. It feels actually lighter than 140 grams. Very EDCable. Actually put it inside my waistband, and I have this clip on here. It comes with molar loops, but I use this clip so I can carry it inside the waistband. The shape goes well with the shape of your body. So yeah, you can carry this on and off belt, I guess. Lots of options here how you can carry this. Nice and positive fit on a Kydex. A little bit of movement, but not too bad. If I am having this on my body, it doesn't rattle at all. Drainage hole on the bottom. Very high quality Kydex sheath. So the steel of this is Sleipner steel, which they use a lot. So Sleipner is basically a tougher version of D2, and this one also is cryogenically heat treated, which is nice. So I think you get a lot of features here. Get a nice coating too, the nice details with the measurements for distances, the Sleipner steel, the micarta, lots of things going on here. The Kydex is also very good. So for a knife in this price range, if you compare this, for instance, if I as a European want to buy a Tops knife, I have to pay like 300 bucks probably, and then I get a 1095, which is very thick behind the edge. This one is not thick behind the edge, it's decent, robust enough to take abuse, but thin enough to slice. And if I buy a Tops knife, I don't get that geometry. I get a thick geometry, I get 1095. I get a sheath that most of the time doesn't fit the knife. So here you get all of those things in a higher quality with better steel, better build quality for sure. So I guess it's a nice alternative to other knives that are even a little bit pricier. So when I received it, it didn't cut as well. The edge was over polished on the buffing wheel, which happens a lot. Companies either give you a very coarse edge that is not refined, or they give you a refined edge that is blunted down by the buffing wheel because they press too hard in the buffing wheel, obviously. So buffing wheels are not the best way to do polished edges. So I sharpened it myself. It sharpened well. The knife took an edge well, so I assume it's good heat. It's a good heat treatment on here. You have this cutout here. It's not really a choil, it's like a cutout for a fire steel. I'm gonna test it in a second, but I want to see if I can actually use it to debark stuff, and yeah, you can definitely use it for that. So it has more usages. The rounded off spine is not good for scraping bark, so but this thing actually, this actually works. Let's see if I can cut through this branch with one cut. I can. And I almost knocked over my gas stove over there. So the sweep on the blade, you can see the cutting edge has a nice sweep going on, and that helps with biting into material, because it's actually getting stuck in the material, which helps it to cut through. If the angle would be different, it would slip out of the cut. So it's a nice shape for slicing and cutting. It's an unusual shape for a military knife, because this almost looks like a not a military knife, like an EDC knife, kitchen knife, crossover. And it is exactly that. And I think this is what they wanted. They wanted to have a small knife that is lightweight, still strong enough, with the I would say it's like a 3.5 millimeter blade stock thickness, something like that. I don't know. It's a compromise between toughness and slicing, I would say. Yeah, the coating is really nice. It looks scratched up right now, but if I clean it, it goes back to being like brand new. So it's a good knife. I'm not sure if this was like made for toughness, so it's probably not for taking one of these logs and betoning it through, even though I think it could do it. but I don't think it's like really made for that. It's more for the cutting tasks, I guess. I will still try to baton. This is a hard wood filled with a lot of resin, so this should be difficult. You can see it like that. So normally I wouldn't do that, but I want to try to test the strength. Yeah, that worked quite well. So even though it's just a 3.5 millimeter, quote, just 3.5 millimeters is quite a lot if you have the right steel. It is decently tough. I wouldn't push it through like I said, like through logs like these. It's not made for that. It probably could do it if you really had to, or if you really wanted to, but the good thing is that it is not a full flat ground blade, so you have a little bit of shoulder, meaning at the weakest point of the knife, which would be here where the handle ends and the blade starts, you have more strength back here. The palm swell of the handle is very far back actually, so naturally I grip it a little bit further back. I'm not sure if this is gonna feel awkward for some people. It felt awkward to me at first, and yeah, I think I got used to it. I would prefer the palm swell to be further in the front, or even the entire handle, as you can see, in reverse. I think that would also feel good. But yeah, it is what it is, and it works, so no complaints there. Yeah, it's a cool knife. Let's test the choil. So this is currently one of my outdoorsy setups with the first aid kit on the back, and then I have some writing stuff, paracord, and a bunch of other shit, the compass in here, rangefinder, and in here I have my old fire steel. Now, I'm not a believer in lighting fires with a blade tang, because I think it damages the blade a little bit too much, so I use these. But for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna use it with the dedicated hole here. So this hole seems to be big enough to take standard Light My Fire fire steels. It's probably not gonna take the super thick ones. Whoa. Well, that worked really well. Yep, works very well. As you can see, we have some discoloring going on now, which can be wiped off pretty well. I kind of like it. I like that this knife has a dedicated spot for the fire steel. I'm not sure if this is good for a knife to do it, but it's kind of cool. Down here you have the name of the brand also. Yep. It's so peaceful to just sit here and listen to the snowfall. It's so quiet. It's so nice. I think those noises that we hear on a day-to-day basis, the traffic, the planes, the smartphones, YouTube, all that stuff, it really disconnects us from ourselves and from nature. And yeah, it sounds very corny, but you know what I mean. It's important to be quiet every once in a while to just listen, which I'm obviously not doing because I'm talking to you, but so the M25, is it a good knife? I think it is. I think it is better than some of the competition in this price range, or even more expensive, as I said earlier, like tops or stuff like that. The build quality is really high. Rounded off spines and tangs are not a thing usually in this price range. The micarta feels really good. The steel is nice once you sharpen it yourself. Obviously, you will not get a really good cutting edge from any company, really, ever, out of box. It's very hard to do. Yeah, the sheath is good. I really like the sheath, and it cuts nice, and yeah, just don't expect it to be like a pry bar, even though it can actually do the harder stuff as well, because the Sleipner steel takes it. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'm gonna sit here and keep getting snowed in and listen to the sounds of nature. Thanks guys, see you in the next video, I guess. Goodbye.